Well, welcome to the Fox 59 Weather Center. We'll be about an hour ahead of putting together the first broadcast of the day. We're on the air at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and 11 p.m. every afternoon. I'm Chief Meteorologist Brian Wilkes. Weather is a passion of mine, and it has been since I was in 4th grade. So you guys are about the age when I was so psyched up over snowstorms because I wanted to get out of school. We had some pretty big snowstorms as a kid growing up. It included a big blizzard in the late 70s that kept us out of school for nearly 2 weeks. That's what got me so excited about the science of meteorology, the science of figuring out when we're going to have another snowstorm to get out of school. A lot goes into an event every day. We're on the air for 3-minute hits during the afternoon hours, and for each minute that we're on the air, it takes about 2 hours of preparation. Not only are we meteorologists, but we also have to make stuff up as we go along, exactly what I'm doing right now. We have to make the forecast, be able to talk in public, and also be able to make graphics. Behind me is Danielle Dozier. She's one of our meteorologists. She's preparing for the 4 o'clock show. And the gentleman with his back to us is Tom. He has actually implemented a brand new bunch of computers here to help broadcast the forecast. For television, that's our crutch. We want to show you graphics. Well, we use a lot of computers on the Weather Center. In fact, this barge is full of about 24 different computers, and not only are they ingesting information, thousands and thousands of information from around the world, temperatures, dew point, the measure of moisture in the atmosphere, winds and wind direction, cloud cover, precipitation type. All this information gets assembled and put into our computers, and then we sort through it and use it on the air. As Tom stands over here on the green wall when we make our presentation, this is where we show up on the maps and give you the broadcast. It's just a green wall, but those computers fill in with that information behind it. So from a broadcast meteorology standpoint, computers are extremely important for us, and graphics computers as well, so we can show folks how the weather is done. Now from a forecasting standpoint, which is what I love, there are 3 main tools in what we use every day for forecasting. The first is satellites. They went up in 1961. They were black and white pictures, and the first chance we had to look at storms from a top. These travel about 22,500 miles above the surface of the Earth, and these have improved over many, many years. The other technique, or the other tool that we use, are computers. Those are huge. The faster the computer, the more information we can process, and the more accurate the computer forecast that we use to make predictions. That's 2 of the very, very important. The third, and one of probably the most important, is just the meteorologist itself. We have a lot of tools to use, but you also have to remember how to forecast. Looking at recognition of patterns, knowing how weather systems behave in different parts of the world. So some of the most important tools there. The computers are one that I really want to touch on because that's a different world. When I was your age, we had a video game. It was Atari or Sega or something like that. It was fun for us at the time. You guys have these new computers where you can play PlayStation 4 or the Xbox 4297. And if that one isn't out yet, it's coming. Well, that technology has changed in 20 or 30 years, and that technology is what helps drive our forecast. So we look at different computer models. Those are huge. And not only do we have several computer models, but these computers are so fast that they can do your homework, your friend's homework, your entire classroom's homework, and everybody else in the other classroom's homework in 1 second. They can process 1 trillion mathematical problems and solutions per second. And that's the incredible speed of the computers that we have today compared to when I was your age growing up. The computer age is here. The faster the computers, the better information we have, and the better we can forecast. Computers are essential. Different computer models come in different forms. They come in coded form in numerical ways. Basically what we do to predict the weather is use sophisticated mathematics, physics equations, things that can explain the atmosphere. They come in coded form. They come in numbers. They also come in maps. These are some of my long-range computer maps. These things are fun. These can go out as much as 2.5 weeks. And look how tiny we are. There's Indiana, and there's Center Grove Middle School North, right about there. See how tiny that is? That's a small area to predict the weather when everything is interconnected from one end of the world to the other. And why has it been so cold here? Warm air is shooting all the way up into Alaska. Cold air is sitting over the northeastern United States in a relentless winter pattern. Will it break? That's a good question. This is 6 days of weather maps right here. And the answer is no, it's not going to change anytime soon. It stays pretty darn cold. Well, computers are huge. Satellite imagery is huge. And one of the final pieces of information that we need is radar. What is Doppler radar? Well, Doppler's the name of a guy, but basically Doppler, this guy who was really smart and knew math, was able to put together a mathematical equation to explain objects coming at a radar or going away from the radar. If the air is going toward the radar and it's moving away from the radar in a real small area, what do you think's happening there? Spinning, it's rotation, it's a tornado. That's how we actually can detect the possibility of a tornado. Satellites, computers, and radar are the three main tools that we use to forecast. Now, your teacher asked me to discuss a couple of things. The 4 types of weather fronts. Well, warm fronts, cold fronts, they're pretty self-explanatory. They're the leading edge of air masses that originate from either the polar regions of the planet or from the equator. What's neat about central Indiana weather is we sit about 42 degrees north latitude, which is halfway between the North Pole and the equator. So that's why we get such varying weather. That's why we get some strange fronts. Warm fronts and cold fronts bring different types of temperatures, but stationary fronts, those can be stalled out. What happens? They stall out, they sit there, and precipitation develops along them. When you get a stationary front, you'll get a big spread in temperatures, and oftentimes you'll get quite a bit of rainfall or possibly snowfall. We're talking about highs and lows really quickly. H's and L's on the weather map are just symbols. This is a symbol for, hey, that's cool. Well, an L on the weather map means lift, lower pressure. The pressure is lower, the air is rising, air is rushing in to fill this void. When lower pressure shows up, the barometer goes down, the air goes up, those air parcels begin to cool, they condense, cloud forms, and eventually these low pressure centers will suck up so much air that eventually rain will form and it'll fall back down to the earth. High pressure is different. High pressure is like a big offensive lineman. It smashes down the air molecules, squeezes all the moisture out of the atmosphere, and the sun comes out. That's the weather that most people like. So that's kind of some of the things that we look at each and every day in the weather office, but it's so much fun because it's constantly coming in. By the time I finish up this video, we'll have a brand new set of information, more data, more data, more data, more data comes in throughout the entire night. And that's the stuff that we watch all day long to tweak the forecast, to update the forecast. So when you hear us say, hey, tune in again later tonight, we're going to have a new update, you better believe it. That will be happening about 7 o'clock tonight. I hope this explains a little bit for you guys. I can talk about weather all day long, but unfortunately, I got to get on TV. So have a great day and keep studying hard.